Yeah, and we are recording with Mr.
Okay.
Tom Luongo and yeah, and streaming. And I never read chat or give anybody the satisfaction of knowing I read, but I have to because somebody said this is disappointing, and I said the show hasn't started yet, you retard. So every once in a while, you just have to have a reminder for why I don't get involved in chat. It's like it's not on. It's like it's the show. It's like people say that when it's like midnight. I'm like the show's tomorrow, and so but we were just talking about. It's what is it? It's Sunday, December 1st, 2024. We
Mhm.
were just talking about, I was gonna say we'll jump into the ICBM and all that shit. I'm having Dr. Ted Postal on next week. He's a nuclear weapons expert. But to what you were just saying about the iMac versus the kind of the PC world, I do all podcasts, everything. I do that in the walled garden of Apple. And
Mhm.
then I do everything game stream. You can actually see the TV on in the background.
Right.
I've got Hitman. I find it's cheaper to actually just turn on my gaming PC and let a game idle in 4K than the
Mhm.
heater because it will heat up this room but not the whole apartment. So I've been running that for like 8 hours. It literally raises 10 degrees, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah, it's funny. I have my office out here. I put an air conditioner in, but I didn't put a heater in because, well, it's Florida and I only really need a heater for like 3 weeks out of the year. So I got a little space heater over there. But then I smoke in this place, so I need to keep the window open. The lows have been in the 30s for the last couple of days. And I'm like, oh God, this is gonna be fun this morning, having to go out and do content creation out in my office. And I'm like, so I've got the window open so the room doesn't get too smoky and I don't kill myself. But I've got the space heater running and I've got three layers on because I'm a Floridian and I have
Heat tolerance or cold
no defense
tolerance.
against the cold anymore. My fingers are I literally can barely type and I don't give a shit. I'm still gonna smoke a cigar,
Yeah.
which is a vasoconstrictor, making my hands even, like, so I'm gonna be doing this shit a lot
Don't worry
and
about
not talking I'm gonna be mute for this one time because my hands are gonna be in my pocket
it. Dude,
because I'm Italian and I won't be able to talk with my hands.
Yeah, no, I just I find that if I just because I don't need to heat the whole fucking apartment, but I find if I just turn on the gaming PC, I'll just it's not even doing anything. It's just I just have Hitman up 4K HDR ray tracing, and
Right.
I literally came up this morning at 7 a.m., turned it on, went about my day, just 61 degrees, 62, it's 68 degrees now, so it's risen 7 degrees
Yeah.
just idling that. Um, but yeah, no, I don't. You said you prefer the PC, but
and and when I my gaming PC right now is a little AMD Nuke that's about this fucking big,
yeah,
and it runs World of Warcraft just fine, thank you very much, and barely. And the fucking thing, the fans don't even run for Christ's sake. Warcraft is like such a is such so little.
optimized.
Yeah, so I mean, this is classic no less. It's not even the optimized client.
Yeah,
It's and even when running retail, which has got actual visual bling and 2020 technology in it as opposed to classic, which is literally embrace the 2004, which is fucking awesome, by the way.
fair enough.
Um, yeah, it doesn't even heat up like the little alcove where where the computer is and where the monitor is and everything else. Like the monitor puts out more heat than this fucking thing does, and it's hilarious. So, and then and in that room, like my mini split air conditioner is right behind my head. So, and that's the air conditioner for the entire downstairs, and it's blowing right on the back of my neck. So it'll be July, and I'll be wrapped up in a blanket because I'm freezing to death because I get 12,000 BTUs blowing on the back of my neck in July. The room is 78 degrees, but I'm wearing a fucking blanket to keep my fingers from. Yeah, it's hilarious. Like, you know, whatever, I don't care. And we're not running the wood stove this year because it's literally covered with crap that either has to go to Goodwill or to the storage unit because we're trying to get the house ready for sale and get the place get ready for the move up to Tennessee. And I'm like, yep, working with space heaters this year and getting up my getting used to the cold again to get back to get used to having to live up north.
I
So
I
like
did
starting the process.
I did the inverse of the AC thing. I cooked a streaming PC last year because it was next to the gaming PC. So the fan was just the outflow from the gaming PC was going into this little tiny streaming PC, and I
Mm.
absolutely cooked it. Heat damaged everything. Um, what I was
Yeah.
gonna say so somebody I wasn't paying attention because it was Thanksgiving, but somebody made a point about why things are popping off in Syria right now. I
Mm.
just saw the meme and it was basically like I don't know. It's like a CIA case officer talking to a bunch of like Durka jihads. Like he's like, listen, fuckers, that big booty Hawaiian bitch is coming in January, and then we are fucked. FUCKED, fucked. No weapons, no cash, no kids. You got nothing. So if you want to
So
make
you
a
better
move to, you got to get to Aleppo yesterday. Go, go,
so
go.
and better yet, he makes a fucking World of Warcraft reference and goes, and we're gonna go Leroy Jenkins on
Oh
your
yeah,
ass, which
yeah,
is
yo, you saw that. He goes, so you better Leroy Jenkins to Aleppo
well, because
yesterday.
yeah, because I mean, I spent most of the weekend like trying to like actually take some time off, time away from
I
this
totally
shit. Just
did. I just cashed out
and
entirely.
so there's, but the wife goes out onto the porch, pulls out her iPad, and is sitting there vaping and doing the Twitter thing, and she'll run in and she goes, Tom, and then she'll show me some tweet, and I read that freaking tweet, and I'm like, oh God, that's beautiful.
That big
Like
booty Hawaiian bitch is coming in here in January,
it's
and
coming
we
in,
are
and we're gonna
fucked. We
Leroy
are
Jenkins
fucked.
on our ass. Oh
No
my God.
cash, no cachets, no bombs, no nothing. But it
So
does.
yeah, I found that one, and I found it, reposted it, and I'm like, at least I got a chicken, which is part of the whole Leroy Jenkins meme, which is how
Yeah,
that video ends, right? It's
yeah.
hilarious.
But yeah, 33.33 repeating, of course. It does kind of seem like, there was that general worry, right? That
Right.
whether no, no, yeah, if Trump won, there's the window between November and January, and what will we see? Will we see kind of the great power conflicts going for it, getting their goodies while
Mm-hmm.
they can? And
Mm-hmm.
at first it kind of seemed like that with the hypersonic from Russia, but I don't think Russia's gonna flip the geopolitical chessboard too much
No,
before
no.
I don't
The
think they
people who
want
are
to.
I was going to say the people who are flipping the geopolitical chessboard are the
It's
fucking British.
us. I was
It's
gonna let the
and
U.S.
or the British. It's really the British even more than us. I think the British are actually trying to set us up.
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of people within the American intelligence and State Department that are on board with the British doing this. Like, it's not like they're. I'm not trying to. I like the reason, folks, that I continually push the whole anti-British angle is because they work so fucking hard to keep themselves in the background, in the shadows. We all know who the players in the United States are that are doing this shit. Everybody knows this because, well, by the way, the British told everybody who they are. Like, but they're the ones, literally, it's their foreign policy. It goes back 200 fucking years now or more. And so, to me, like, they are desperately trying to get, like, this is the interesting part about this, right? I was thinking about this morning. I literally just did this for my patrons on my market report before was part of the reason why we had to go at 1 today as opposed to noon, because
For everybody listening, your Patreon is in the description, and your podcast, or not podcast,
right. and
all that
and
shit.
so Tommy and I set this up yesterday, and he's like, can we go at noon? I'm like, yeah, probably, if I get up at 7. If I get up at 9, no, it's going to have to be closer to 1. So he's like, hey, why don't we just go 1 o'clock? And good thing, because I literally just uploaded the video like 10 minutes ago. But I was saying this morning is like, it's funny. I was, and that gave me enough time this morning to get some reaction shots from some of my patrons who were very politically astute. Why he actually uh, Al Qaeda in
You just that last 10
Syria.
seconds just cut out. I think it's your Starlink.
Yeah, with this one card. So
Yeah,
I just saw
no,
that
you're
the,
good.
the
You're good. So
internet
you said you just
stable.
uploaded the video, and then it.
I just uploaded the video and we were talking about Erdogan and why would Erdogan activate HTS, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, for the first time in 6 years. Well, probably he didn't. Why did Biden, after he makes a deal, so think of it this way, why is all of a sudden are these people who start acting 180 degrees outside of, away from the way they've been acting recently, why all of a sudden are they acting completely opposite to the way they have been acting? Well, it's because they didn't. Like, Biden didn't give that order to say to go ahead for the Ukrainians to shoot ATACMS into Russia. The British did put it out, and our intelligence services did put it out, put the thing out through the New York Times, a wholly owned subsidiary of the CIA and MI6, I might add, and then hung him with that. In the same way that I think they're trying to hang Erdogan with activating his Islamist crazies in Idlib. I don't think that's the case. I think it's clearly this is an intelligence operation. I don't, and and they're trying to hang Erdogan with this because Erdogan, he move after move. puts it, or nothing he would do. There's not a thing right now that Erdogan would do that would support Israel. And so, attacking Assad and following up on Israeli strikes into Syria, right? And then you had, it doesn't make any sense. Erdogan wouldn't do this. So you have Israel, going balls out on Hezbollah, and assassinating IRGC generals left and right, and supposedly degrading the operational control of both of Hezbollah and the IRGC and everything else, trying to leave Syria isolated. So they've been setting this up for weeks, right? And so I'm not shocked at all that over the holiday weekend, when Americans were on a tryptophan and carb coma and not paying attention, even guys like myself, not really paying attention, that they would light this one off. I said all last week, I said, I expect something to happen over the weekend. I don't know what it's going to be. And then, the minute I started seeing the reports coming in from Syria, I'm like, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But do I think the Russians are going to overreact to this? No.
No.
Do I think anybody, and do I think, this will really matter? So it's going to be an interesting problem. Or is
You're good.
okay. I
Yeah.
was getting a little flaky, and I'm wanting to make sure that there's not anything weird going on. I mean,
you're good. It cut out for like a couple of seconds, but you're good. I was gonna say, yeah, no, I hadn't really thought, but I guess it makes sense. I mean, if you're if you hate Trump, if you're, in the entrenched power structure, if you're a pedophile and you worship the devil, like what would you do to him coming in? And so he won, and they tried to blow his head off. They tried to put him in jail, didn't work. Try to blow his head off, didn't work. They probably tried to steal the election, but didn't work. I would imagine that they're on like level E now, and it's just like, all right, here are all these kind of, I don't know, uh, powder kegs around the world, which there probably are at all times, just little things
yes.
here and there that you just, it's maintenance of empire. You just keep that there, keep that there. This happens there.
And
If
then
your
you fire them
guys,
up when you need to.
yeah, and if your guys coming in that you don't want, well, then you're like, why don't you just minimally kind of push over? It's not going to end the world, and it's not going to stop Trump from coming in power. But man, that's gonna be some fucking gum on your shoes. Like that
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
yeah, just start shitting a couple continents and just let it run.
Well, yeah, it's ultimately, that's what I've been saying for a while now, is that, like, if they can't kill Trump and they can't start World War III because Putin's going to try and wait all this craziness out, then you have to leave Trump with conflicts that he can't easily extricate himself from, right? Um, and that's clearly what they're trying to do in Ukraine. So let's think about this from a couple of different. Let's think about this. Let's think about the parallels here between between recapturing Aleppo and putting Syria on the table here. And let's think about why did the Ukrainians make their move into Kursk? Well, it wasn't it serves a multiple purposes, and the easy one is the story that they throw out there, that, oh well, Putin's been embarrassed now, and all the crazies are you're going to force him to to escalate and everything else. That's the narrative that comes out of the bowels of MI6, out of the bowels of the CIA and the State Department, because that's what they're trying to portray. Well, the reality, I think, is probably even more dangerous than that, which is, that's what the Italian, on the one hand, what they're really trying to do was they were trying to get Ukrainian um, armed forces close enough to a place where they must have had intelligence where they could threaten Putin's nuclear triad. So let's spin a scenario here. What if you're British intelligence and you have credible intelligence that, or even the CIA, the credible intelligence that the Russians have moved some of their nuclear bombers forward, right? Forward position, forward of St. Petersburg, either maybe into into eastern part of Belarus or whatever. And you needed to threaten that pawn or that rook. You move some pawns to threaten that rook. I'm using a chess reference, even though I hate chess for using geopolitics. I firmly believe that Go is a better metaphor for this. But let's just go that route. Well, then it would make sense that you would do that in order to then, and then you would say, I'm going to shoot missiles that, can't hit Moscow, can't hit St. Petersburg, but they could hit the area between Kaliningrad and St. Petersburg. They could hit any of the air bases in that area or the weapons depots or anything like that, or anything that strategic that Putin had staged there. So that's the real reason you make that move, because that if you threaten Putin's nuclear triad and you try to degrade it, he is going to respond with fuck a whole lot of you people. We're making parking lots. I mean, listen to the rhetoric coming out of the Russians,
Hmm.
and the rhetoric has escalated to that level. And so now it's a, so that's that. So it's the same kind of thing that's happening in Idlib, to a much lower degree, of course, because no one's going to launch nuclear weapons over fucking, Aleppo. But it's the same kind of thing. If you want to continue to have control over or potentially further have control over the flow of oil in the Middle East and gas coming out of the Persian Gulf, right? And you want to make sure that Israel still has cheap oil and gas flowing from eastern Syria, the Deir ez-Zor, across the country into Israel, in order to continue to refuel your permanent aircraft carrier that is Israel. That's
Hmm.
the way I look at Israel at this point. I don't even look
Absolutely.
at Israel.
Absolutely.
I have no interest in Israel as any kind of religiously important place. It is in the minds of a lot of people, and it's what's used to get the cynical geopolitics advanced. But the reality is that Israel is nothing more than an advanced aircraft, than a land-based aircraft carrier for the remnant of the British Empire to protect
With
its
people who will religiously defend their aircraft carrier.
right. Makes perfect sense strategically when you start thinking like a really, really cynical, prick. And I'm sorry, but are the British thuggish? Or the British, and then did they teach that to a bunch of Americans you know, who are also that way? Like, it's not like we don't have these people in our, again, it's not at this point, British foreign policy is a proper noun. We have adopted British foreign policy, so we get to be the scapegoats to this because we're the big Billy Bad. But the truth of the matter is that where do you think this intelligence is coming from? How do you think this information is being slipped up the chain of command? Why is, and then you start asking yourself, and across every vertical, I was doing this morning, every vertical, you have members of the Biden administration refusing to, by this point, Janet Yellen should have already stepped down as Treasury Secretary, right? Like, you know, there's a guy at the Federal Reserve who's been the lead for Operation Choke Point 2.0. I was talking to
Mm.
the debanking thing. That I was talking to Caitlin Long about this, and she's been killing it on Twitter, exposing parts of this. And there's a guy by the name of Barr who's been the lead at the Federal Reserve doing this. Like, that guy refuses to step down. That guy comes out and says, I am going to serve my full 14-year term or whatever. Like, you understand that these people are put there and placed in these positions, and they really do believe that they still have an opportunity to continue the policy, even though the policy is going to be reversed eventually. They're still holding out hope that something is going to change, and they're going to be able to win in the future, or they're going to be able to hang on and continue grinding this thing out in the hope that they can just extend and pretend this whole policy until we can get rid of these. We can get rid of these little people who think they're gonna make the world safe for humanity again. No. We have to make the world safe for make pedophilia secret again. Like, that's what this is all fucking about.
Yeah.
Like, let's not kid ourselves. Like, it's about oil and about making pedophilia secret again. So, like, but so I just distrust all of these things. Like, it's never what they tell you it is. You always have to think strategically as opposed to emotionally. The histrionics are easy. The histrionics write themselves because it's the first order analysis of why people do what they do. But the second and third and fourth order analysis, usually where the real policy is being, that's the real policy that's being advanced by all this stuff.
In terms of, so like what you're just saying about those guys that, you got a term and it's, Occam's razor would say, like, how do you explain that? True believer probably, but also it's just their fiefdom and it's just they're doing this and, you don't know his, the drama that is all of our lives. You probably talk to him and you'd be like, ever since I was little, I want you to be like, yeah, fucking, yeah, I got it, right? And I'm doing the podcast and the whatever the fuck. But like, in terms of also just how that works is that podcast, like I told you, I don't really listen to Rogan anymore. I don't have time to listen to it. But the Mark Andreessen one,
Mm.
it was actually pretty good, and they drew an important observation that had come up on this podcast before, and it's when you look at how quickly the woke ideology swept the nation, what that really tells you is just how either consciously open or unconsciously susceptible people are to change. But regardless, change. Nonetheless,
Mm.
absolute value, change. That can also go in the other direction. And like that, I
Yes.
know you always quote, the end of Watchmen, nothing ends, Adrian, nothing never ends.
That's
But
right.
the other one is in the graphic novel, not the book is better than the, but really, I mean, right? It's as the thing happens, and then he's like, all right, now start moving to like, marriage and birth and start pushing these products. He's like push the commercials for like starting families and expansion. There
Hmm.
is all of that. And then seeing that commercial from 2 days ago, I think of Apple, and then like a week or two ago of Subaru. And I don't have any like I like to think I'm not gullible, and I'm like we won. It's not that. It's just it's fiefdoms that are just they're putting the finger in the air and they're going wind's going that way. To me, that's a little almost optimistic when you realize that
Yep.
it's not 5% of people versus 95% of people. It's 5% of people and another 5% of people. And at any given time, one of them controls about 90% of the middle ground. But it's really five on five. And
Mm.
the people that dyed their hair and chopped their dicks off are just as malleable to in 5 years be like, listen, we're a Christian nation and we need strong borders. Like you couldn't bend people's brains that quickly. Do you
Yep.
think we're gonna see some like because it's you look at all the people kind of going into the Southern White House and kissing the ring, and then but to me it's much more telling that you see Apple putting a commercial out like that. I believe they're the first $1 trillion corporation, I mean, as of like a decade ago.
Right.
All this to say, do you think we might see a bigger change? And it's not because there's some grandiose man behind the curtain, but rather it's five on five, and Trump seems to have, it's probably like it's like Trump, Elon, fucking whoever, RFK. It seems like they're kind of pushing the meta narrative, and now things are going to start happening kind of downstream of that. Do you think or is that just me? Like, is that what I want to see? I mean, I'm very biased. I like Trump. I like, I don't like pedophiles. But do you think that's what we're seeing? I
I
know that
think
was
it's
a
I'm
word vomit, but
well, the thing is I'm a really big believer in cycles. I
yeah,
really am a really big believer in you push people too far in one direction, you push them, they invariably will react back in the opposite direction. Like, you know, I really do believe that.
yeah,
And there's a the way I'm going to put it is this: when it doesn't feel like you have the ability to strike back, like this is the momentum is going in one direction. And for a lot of people, as you kind of pointed out, you have the five on one side, you have the five on the other, you have the 90% in the middle who are like, they have to go along to get along because they're making a very rational decision of how to deal with what they perceive to be the momentum of which way the society is going. They may not like it. They may hate it. As a matter of fact, they most likely do hate it, but they go along with it anyway. And they give lip service to it for a variety of reasons. Why did so many of us put on masks even though we didn't believe in them? Okay, I'll be honest with you. Like I had the luxury of living in a place where when I left my little enclave and I went out to the main road, that was for the access road to my neighborhood. I could go left and I could go to Lake City, or I can go south and go to Gainesville. Now in Gainesville, shit lives central. I knew that I would have to put on my mask and I would have to do this and I have to do all these things. But if I went to Lake City, Cowtown, whole bunch of farmers, whole bunch of based fucking red staters. Like, dude, I didn't wear a mask when I went to Lake City. So for the whole of COVID, the only thing I knew I had to do when I went to Lake City was not go to Walmart
yeah,
because Walmart was literally enforcing masking outside the building, but everywhere else it didn't matter. The only people who were wearing masks in Lake City were the waitresses, but we went to in the restaurants. And So we went there. Now, when I visited other people, for example, when I went down to South Florida to visit my business partner and my friend, and we went out into the world in blue Broward County, we had to we had to just do the thing.
Yeah.
Why? And we did it as a way to solve their anxiety
Sure.
about this. We didn't believe in any of it. We knew it was bullshit.
Yeah.
So as a statement of we want to be members of the community, we will go along with this even though we don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But it all
throw on the
looks
fucking
like we're going along with it, right? So once that spell is broken, then you just see the uprising and the upwelling of what people really think. When everybody kind of looks around and goes, "Oh, I'm allowed to." It's okay socially. Like you see this all the time. I was talking to a friend of mine. I've said this in other podcasts. I'll say it again. I have a friend of mine who is, substitute teaching in the Alachua County school system in Woke Central in Florida. And the day after the election, all the eighth graders were walking around in MAGA hats. Okay. So they were all like, none of them were, they were all like, you know what I mean? Like it's the eighth graders,
Yeah.
ninth graders, all walking around with friggin' MAGA hats on. And, the teachers are having to like do this and, and the kids didn't care.
Yeah.
Because it was finally, they were finally allowed to express themselves. Yeah. And so, I've used the point about Syria, taking this all the way back to the beginning. The first person to stand up to the bully in the Middle East, Putin, in Syria, 2013, 2014, 2015, had a huge effect on loosening the tongues of the entire Arab world. Now, all of a sudden, we can start to see what these people really thought about the situation. But before that, they couldn't do anything about it because they didn't think that anybody else was willing to stand with them. And they didn't think there was anybody else willing to stand in front of them and take the heat because they couldn't take the heat, the Saudis or the Qataris or this one's or that one. But the Russians walk in and go, no, that's enough. We're putting up a boundary. And we're going to stand up to the bully. All of a sudden, I've used the phrase in the past, voice to the voiceless and spine to the spineless. And I don't mean that in a derogatory term. I don't mean that as a pejorative. Look, man, like it's not spineless to think in terms of, it gives you spine to stand up now in a way that, it's a nice rhetorical term phrase, but I don't mean it, in a pejorative sense. You're making a rational calculation to protect your family or protect your business or protect this or protect that. You're making a very rational calculation. Circumstances change, and now you can actually act like a human being, and then the whole thing just lifts. And you're passing out D20s around the world, and they only have 20s on them. And then when you roll to disbelieve, like the D&D reference, my 20-sided die only rolls natural 20s. Fuck off. You know what? And I think that's where we are, Tommy. And it's just we're in that moment of whiplash. The 90% or the 80% or whatever have always thought this. Yeah. It was like when Ron Paul first showed up in 2008 and said a couple of freaking basic things about blowback and foreign policy, and the whole fucking country stood up and went, that guy, we want that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it is a calculation, right? I mean, it's like when I worked at a liquor store during the pandemic, and guys would come in, and you'd be like, "Can you put the mask on?" They'd be like, "Dude, I don't want." And you just look at him, you'd be like, "Dog, I'm working this fucking minimum wage job. Like, do you think I want to? Like, do you think I'm like gonna give you a fucking lecture on the origin of like?" Dude, put on the mask because my boss is watching through the cameras, and if I don't tell you, he's gonna yell at me, and right. I already want to fucking hang myself. Like, just please put on the mask. And like, some people be like, hey, all right. Like, yeah, dude, I don't.
Yeah, no, exactly. You just kind of look at them and go, what I would always say to them and to people is like, you don't have to wear that for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would leave it at that, and I would move on. You don't have to wear that for me. You're not going to bother me. And just to let them know, you do what you want. I know you're doing what you have to do, and but please don't. Please don't think that I'm going to be upset if you let the mask slip off of your nose so that you can actually fucking breathe while you're serving me my steak. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I know you're working extra hard, and I actually tipped better during COVID than I did my entire fucking life. So
South Park when they're wearing them, they put the mask on, they just put it under the chin, and they're like, "Put the thing on fully." He goes, "That's disgusting. Fuck you, Fauci. I'm not putting it. I'm not pulling it up. Like, but that's disgusting." But
You
like,
know,
but you see the calculation there, right? Where it's
yeah.
like, if it was me working there, and I don't, but if I did and had like a wife and kids, you'd be like, is this the hill you're dying? Probably not. And
Right. You're not
easy for
going to die on.
me because I have a podcast and it's just me. I can, throw my podcast down the drain and be like, fuck you, it's a depopulate, and like, sure, and those are my decisions, and I regret nothing. Fuck everybody, but neither here nor there. Doesn't mean that the opinions of anyone was actually different under the surface. And now it's shifted to where, I mean, it's okay to it's the the current is moving to where it's no longer controversial to be like, hey, that chick's got a dick. Like, I don't, that's what is that? It's no longer
Like,
controversial
can
to
you
be
not see
like,
the Adam's apple?
exactly, but it's no longer controversial to be like, hey, man, very easy for me to say I was born in the nuclear family and an upwardly mobile, American suburban. It's easy for me to look at Ukraine and be like, yeah, fuck you. Like, I get it. I mean, I know it's all technically NATO should have expanded, and it's our. I get all that. I also get that there's some poor schmuck there like me talking to some poor Ukrainian version of you, and I get it. You're probably like, fuck these people. Like, give me an AK. I get that's all well and good. But
Sure.
then there's also the first ever ICBM used in combat. First ever. I mean, that's something that like should be that we went farther than the Cuban Missile Crisis. No, no, there's never an ICB. There's never been an ICBM launched
Well,
before
well,
in warfare ever, 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 ever.
let's make sure we back up for just a second. You're right that a ballistic missile like that, but that was a medium range ballistic missile. That was not an
But it still did
intercontinental one.
everything that an ICBM did. It went up to orbit. The
Yeah,
bus
yeah,
came
yeah,
out. It maneuvered.
yeah,
It went straight down, and
yeah.
the multiple
No,
independent
no,
reentry vehicles came back down.
no argument, no argument. But it wasn't an intercontinental ballistic missile because this is a very
Eat
important
a
subtle
eat,
point,
eat a
which
eat
is,
eat
oh,
a
by the
you,
way,
you
America, we're
fucking you
not.
controlled opposition. Fuck
We are
you.
no, no, no. Stop. This
No, it
is a
was. It was
very
an
important. This is a
IRBM. Yeah, no,
very
I know.
important point, right? Which is that what the message that Russia was sending was the following: we have these weapons that we're willing to use against Europe, but we did not show you our hand of what we're willing to use against Europe, which could also tag the United States. So to Mr. Trump and to Mr. Biden and everybody else, we know where this shit's coming from. We know who the real enemies are, and we do not necessarily want to get involved in a fight with you. So if you're willing, this is literally what was said. If you're willing to be rational about this, we can end this conflict because what they're trying to do is isolate the people who are actually the yip dogs trying to
Yeah,
create the war.
yeah.
So it's very important that this is the missile that they showed when anybody shows their technology and they escalate and show technology that they never showed before, what they show and what it was capable of doing is very important. This is a very important diplomatic message.
Hmm.
Now, whether the guys at Project Alchemy believe that was a move that puts Putin on the short bus, and so he's going to run out of moves before they do in the escalatory framework, so they can still get their fucking just war. That's a different conversation. And I firmly believe that these people still believe that they have one more move than Putin. That's what scares me, Tommy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not what was thrown was very simply, dude, back the fuck off and we'll just take
yeah,
out a British base and be done with it.
yeah. It was that as someone that was a bouncer in college. It was that everyone you always see just like dudes posturing. It really is just like there's nothing new under the sun. It's no different than just chimpanzees screaming at you, just dudes posturing around women. But every once in a while, there'd be that moment where that sound of like like hamburger meat hitting a sidewalk when the fist just
Yep.
connects with the jaw, and you'd
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, it's just oh," and all of a sudden, very real. And it wasn't a big thing. You'd be like, "We gotta throw him out." Be like, that jumped up a notch, and everything would kind of slow down after that. There's
Mm-hmm.
something about because I had just and I love Cold War history. I had just, for like the first time ever, like 2 months ago, watched this video on YouTube, which at one point probably would have been like the most classified thing, but it was MERV reentries, the multiple independent reentry vehicle dummy tests from like
Hmm.
the 80s. And I mean, these things are coming in at Mach 20, and you just see
Yeah.
them and they're like hitting this beach and, sand's exploding. It's just this old black and white video. And there's no way to stop this shit. I mean, ICBMs are so cool because it's like not only is it a nuke, but it's coming in vertically in shotgun formation, straight down, eight or six, seven times faster than the SR-71 Blackbird, straight down.
Right.
And then seeing that video of just like, whoop, whoop, whoop. I was watching it in that couch, and I was just looking at that. My parents live up in the mountains, and I was like, maybe do I just grab the gun, grab a copy of the podcast, and just quietly leave? 'Cause I was looking at it and I, I was like, if Cold War geek, I'm like, oh, it was just a very
Yeah.
quiet moment of like, and like I texted like one or two of like the special forces guys. I was like, do you see that? And it was just, one of them just said like, see you on the other side, and I was like, man, I was like, man, dude, and like, but that was just
yeah. Yeah.
That's like that is the fist hitting the jaw though. This
Yeah.
is no longer just like and then the tanks and the Abrams and the F-16s. That's like dog, that those are and people are like Putin is wasting, not and I'm like that wasn't a waste, man. That was a throwing the fist at the jaw.
Mhm. Yep.
Man, I fucking hope that there's some much like the Cuban Missile Crisis. I hope there's like backline communications between the incoming well, on an optimistic note, the other thing that the same special forces guy said, he goes, that being said, I don't think it's the end of the world. You have to go tit for tat.
Mhm.
It's an alpha thing. You have to, and Ukraine did just launch attack arms. They're like you have to punch back and kind of suck the oxygen out of the room. Like you just have. It's like a psychological thing. Like you have to do that,
Yeah,
and
no, because if you don't do that, then the people that threw that first punch
they're gonna just start going
will
threat haming.
well they will interpret past passivity as
Weakness. Yeah.
weakness, and that's what they'll do. And so but you have to also realize that we're talking about psychopaths who are demons who have laid this thing out in their head of what their flow chart looks like of how we get to their preferred outcome. And their preferred outcome is that Putin's going to run out of escalatory framework. So I was game planning a lot of this with Alex Craner on another show that we did. And I got and Alex opened up with, have you heard that all the ULEZ cameras or all the CCTV cameras in London have been offline since August? I'm like, oh, you haven't heard about this one yet?
I know people have been like, no,
Okay,
wait, no, I know
so
that. I know people have
so
been ripping shit down, but that's like the carbon
that's
one.
the ULEZ cameras. That's no, this is different. Those are the Blade Runners that are taking down the ULEZ cameras, which was awesome, right? No,
Yeah.
we're talking about that
The
apparently, as long as this is true, that the London, the most surveilled city in
uh-huh.
the world, this most of the, if not all of the CCTV cameras have been offline and not transmitting for a couple of months now. Now he throws that at me the morning after Dexter and I sit around and we're thinking about this strike by the Russians, and we're thinking about how about what this is being said and the escalatory framework and everything else, all of these things. I said, look, if you take it from one point of view that this is Russia having fewer options, so they're in a weak position. Dexter was taking that side of the argument, and that they had to go to this level in order to because they're in a weaker position than we may think they are. Then that's why they did what they did, because they only have a couple of moves left. I said, well, the other side of that is to say what I just said politically. He's thinking about it purely from a military, tactical, strategic weapons. What do you have on the table? What can you move? He's thinking that level. I'm thinking politically and diplomatically. What does that thing what does that event, that missile, um, signify? And that's basically what I just laid out for you, that this was a way of saying, look, we know who's behind this. We know what this is, we know what's going on here. And we're not threatening the United States with this. We're threatening Europe, because Europe, and specifically the British, because blah. So then we sat down and we finished the game planning that. And so Dexter turns to me and said, well, if that's true, then Putin's next move would be to hit a purely military target, because any target where there's the potential for civilian casualties, the British get what they want.
Yeah.
So, so what does he say? So what he says to me is, he goes, you know what? That means that the optimal solution to that problem is for the Russians to sink a British frigate.
Yeah, I was just thinking, yeah, you don't want to go aircraft carrier. That's too
right. So you hit a frigate or something, and I sort of turn to him and go, well, then I saw over the weekend that the British are recalling all of their ships back to port for maintenance, human shields. And he's like, bingo. They're trying to start World War III. I'm like, yeah. And then Alex the next day turns to me and says, and they've turned off all the CCTV cameras in London. I'm like, so they're setting up for a false flag where they're going to nuke their own fucking people and blame it on Putin.
Or just crazy Spetsnaz-esque.
Dirty bomb, whatever you want to call it.
Super sloppy false flag.
But that is a super sloppy false flag. And what I've been saying is, now let's ask yourself the question, why is the Senate still in session, trying to turbo approve all these judges? Why are they still in session? Why did Biden approve the ATACMS hit? And the minute after that happens, on Saturday, we hear that. On Monday, I start hearing noises about 25th Amendmenting out Biden. On Tuesday, the ATACMS go and attack Russia. On Thursday, the Russians turn around and retaliate. And the noise for the getting rid of Biden, because he's crazy to give Ukraine this ability. And they start thinking about 25th Amendmenting out Biden. Now they start thinking about 25th Amendmenting out Biden. Not any other point in this 4 years, but now. Why? Because what they're setting up for, and I'm dead serious when I say this, what they're setting up for is a Christmas coup against the United States. Same thing with 1913. We got the 16th, the 17th Amendment, and the Federal Reserve Act during a special session of the Senate and Congress over Christmas. So what I'm fully expecting they're going to continue to escalate this in the attempt to install Kamala Harris after the false flag, to then get us involved in World War III against our will.
What's the importance of Kamala Harris?
She's a puppet. Biden is out of the equation because Biden fucked them by not allowing them to steal the election for Trump.
I do think, not I don't mean to divert the topic. I do think, I think that's when people are like, why didn't they steal it? I'm like, well, the commander in chief did get outed, and he's wearing a fucking MAGA hat.
MAGA hat.
He's just looking at it, and he's like, fuck this shit. No, fuck it. Stand down.
When you take $300 million from a mob boss, you expect no retaliation?
Yeah.
Biden's a mob boss.
Yeah.
Biden, they fuck him over. They steal his money. Not only do they say you don't get to be the candidate, they steal all of his money in the process.
Drag his son through it. He's been a loyal as pedophile servant for his entire life. I mean, I know there's no honor amongst thieves, but I mean, man, that guy's paid his. I mean, it's the dues to Satan's army, but nonetheless, he's paid his dues.
Right. It doesn't matter who he's paying his dues to. He's been a loyal servant.
Yeah.
Okay. And they fucked him over at the last moment, and they stole his money, and they're still holding his son's pardon over his head because they keep delaying the sentencing. Okay, that's the leverage point. So all of this makes sense to me. And then all he has to do is send one of his boys over to Don Trump Leone and says, what can we do about this? And Trump is many things, but he's a man of his word and he understands loyalty. And so they cut a deal. I firmly believe that they cut a deal.
I 100% believe that. He's and if Biden can't, Trump will pardon Hunter.
Yeah, exactly. And
Absolutely.
then
Absolutely.
and then even then, and then on top of that, since then we've heard like the couple hundred more $1 million worth of aid's going to go back to Ukraine and da, da, da. Like you don't think that's the fucking payoff?
Yeah.
Biden's going to get his money again
Yeah.
because that's all he cares about,
Yeah.
and that's okay. And that's a,
That's all I
and
care
by the
about.
way, a couple $100 million to the fucking Biden crime family to stop World War III, I'll pay that fucking price.
Yeah.
I'm not that. I'm
Wholeheartedly.
just not that much of a fucking purist, Woody Webb. Fuck
No,
you.
I'm I'm
I'm not playing that game.
yeah. No, I mean, again, seeing those Mervs come down through the sky. I'm like, yeah, you know what? What are we doing here? Who needs the money? Yeah, fuck it,
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, whatever.
Like,
Who the
yeah,
fuck needs
I'm
the
gonna be,
money?
I'm gonna purity spiral over a couple $100 million worth of Ukraine aid. Like,
Eat a
fuck
fucking
off.
dick. Yeah, what do we need to
Yeah,
do? How do we
eat a whole bag of dicks.
yeah, how do we get this nuke to Hiroshima? I don't care what the middle ground is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. No, I mean, no, I think so. I think Biden probably worked with Trump. I feel like Trump's hopefully talking to
I
Putin.
can tell you that when I've heard and what I've seen, what I've heard and what I've seen, I haven't heard a lot, but what I've seen is very clear that the deconfliction hotline is working. Putin comes out and makes a big speech about how Trump has been treated inhumanely, and he's very clear. He's like, I'm not playing this fucking game.
Mm,
So we know what you're trying to do. We can see you, and I, so we had Syria and Aleppo over the weekend. While the U.S. markets were mostly closed, I watched them paint the tape on the monthly close on all the fucking major charts, including the dollar, including the belly of the U.S. yield curve and a variety of other stuff. I was going over all this shit this morning as well, and I'm like, guys, you're like a fucking terrier that refuses to submit, and at
mm.
some point, you either submit or I don't have my I won't show my 9 millimeter on screen.
Yeah.
But that's what
Yeah.
comes next.
Yeah.
And and that's what happens. Metaphorically speaking, you're taken out back behind the chemical shed, and that's the end of that.
And then there's also, and I don't mean to be all like Boy Scouty, but then there is also the whole like, other than like the true fucking believers that are actually like Satanists and extinctionists. Ultimately, I mean, as Tim Dillon, and I think I've said it with you, it's like ultimately like they still want their penthouses and their whores and their yachts. Like China, and China's by no means our friend or ally. I get that, but they're also like they don't they don't want the game to end. They would much rather like they'll keep, buying US farmland around military bases and fuck we'll keep go but it's Batman and Joker. It's like I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you?
Right.
Like we don't want it to end. That's the secret behind all of it. That's what's behind the door.
And
Is like
again,
they don't want it to
the
end.
yeah, and the other thing is that, guys, it's going to be a negotiated settlement.
Yeah.
We have so much that we have to do to
We're
fix
not
the shit at
throwing
home.
it over with these
The Chinese have a bunch of shit to fix at home. Their mercantilism has left them in a terrible position. Our mercantilism has left us in a terrible position. Like it's all bad. And the
Yeah.
people who are desperately trying to continue to deal themselves into a table where they are short stacked are Europe.
You know what it kind of seems like is all the people going to Mar-a-Lago. And I
Mm.
do love those tweets. They're like, how funny is it that like Trump is a modern like emperor? He's holding court in his own
Yeah.
private. He's just
Well, he has to. His own private White House.
yeah.
Like, I love the fact that it's in Florida. Are you
It's
fucking
so
kidding me? I'm like,
there is to quote Tim Dillon again, there is nothing Trump's the most American man in the world. He eats Big Macs in a golden penthouse in the sky and he owns Miss Universe. Like he is I mean, the White House is in Florida. Like there's nothing Texas would be a close second. There is nothing more American than
mhm.
just fucking the White House in Florida. Just eat palm trees. Like
Yeah,
eat
no, there's nothing more America
it
than
is, yeah.
Trump eating and making and poor RFK having to take the picture with
Yeah, yeah.
eating the McDonald's and drinking the Diet Coke. It's
Did you see
hilarious.
that? Did you see that meme where it's like making the new guy do some drugs so you know he's not a Fed? And it's just they're all around. They're like, eat it. Fucking you wearing a wire? Eat the Big Mac. Eat the fuck you. But like,
The Big Mac. That's
prove
why I
you're
ate the Big
yeah.
Mac.
But prove one of us. Prove you're one of us. Like, eat it.
Exactly.
Get the evidence. Yeah, no, they were hazing him. Um, but it does seem like I was
You
just
can
thinking
see it
that.
on his face. It was
Oh yeah,
hilarious. Like,
absolutely, absolutely. But I was just thinking this last night. Like, it seems like the like deep state entrenched power structure, whatever, globe is a multinational, is a globe, whatever. But I mean, in general, it's like when you look at world leaders, like, yeah, you know they're not pulling this, even if it's just banks, but like you know that there's some structure behind it, and the people in charge take orders and they go out and say we're doing this, and they smile at the podium, but like you know it's not Trudeau, you know it's not whoever the fuck. What it seems like though is. It doesn't just seem like Trump won the election. And again, it's just, I thought of this last night, so it's just kind of a reflexive thought.
sure.
But it seems more like, I don't know, let's pretend you're in office, you get to the podium or whatever, you get to the Oval Office, and like you probably don't even see who controls you. You probably just somehow talk to them. It seems like all those lines have like gone dead. And it's not just that Trump won and they're like, all right, how do we pivot against this? It almost seems like they're like, for lack of a better term, like their deep state phone. And they're like, it's just like, it's like a dead line. And they don't know
Hmm.
what to do.
Hmm.
And they do know that they've been like either, pushing this vaccine on people or starting wars or destroying their own homogenous societies with immigrants. They are kind of like mom, it's not that mom and dad are mad. It's like they're not picking up the phone and you're like, fuck. And it seems like they're just kind of going to. It's like this weird who like it insinuates that Trump removed them or some group removed. Does that make any? It
Right.
seems like like you're picking up
No,
the phone. You're like, what do I
yeah,
say
no,
next? And it's
no,
like the
it's,
line is dead.
yeah, no,
Like
no,
the
I
deep state
agree.
line is.
And did you not see the report over the weekend from the New York Post about Jamie Dimon?
No.
Oh yeah, there's a great report out of the New York Post about and Bloomberg. Trump and Dimon have been coordinating for all of 2024 on policy and all the rest of it. And when Trump came out last week and said, I respect Jamie a lot, but he's not going to be a part of the administration. I'm like, no, he doesn't need to be. He already won the election for him.
Yeah.
He already did all the work. Everything I've been saying about Diamond, about J.P. Morgan and Goldman and the banks, like it's all true. That report completely confirms that. Everybody's like, dude, do you ever get tired of winning? I'm like, no, never get tired of winning. Ever. I don't get tired of winning. Fuck that. Um, I'm not one of those people. I'm absolutely like, I like winning, and I play every game to win.
Yeah.
Even games that I don't want to, I know I'm not going to win. I still play them to win, right?
That's how
I
I play
respect the game enough.
Hitman. That's how I play Hitman.
Well,
Is I don't take out the target. I kill everyone on the map. Get like a negative 2 million score. Don't give a shit. Been playing the game for 5 years. Never played a single mission correctly. Kill it. Kill
just
everyone.
kill them all,
Yeah, I
like God
win.
sorted out.
Yeah,
But no,
exactly.
but seriously, like this whole thing about Jamie Dimon and Trump was was enormous, and I'm like, and everybody's like, damn, you were right about that too. I'm like, it was so fucking obvious because you have to understand how these people talk. And you have to understand how they signal in the newspaper. When Jamie Dimon speaks, he speaks very clearly, and he's speaking to a particular group of people. If that's what he's willing to say publicly, what the fuck do you think he's willing to say and do
Yeah.
privately? Like, come on. So, there's that angle to it. So, yes, at some point, like, and oh, by the way, that comes out the same weekend that all this other shit happens, and they put the kibosh on Matt Gaetz as Attorney General, which is clearly bait, right? And in our original hammer and anvil analysis, it was, well, he's throwing him out there as bait to say you can get him out of the Senate, out of Congress, and make him an AG, or we can install him as a senator, and then you still have to fucking deal with the asshole. And then Matt Gaetz is like, oh no, I like special counsel Matt Gaetz more, like, okay, I was wrong about senator, but special counsel Matt Gaetz is even better because now it's and then crazy. So what do we find out with Matt Gaetz? They threw him out there as bait to find out who was willing to torch every ounce of political capital they have to stop Matt Gaetz.
Hmm.
Oski, Collins, Mitch McConnell, and someone else. Those guys. Oh, thank you very much.
Oh.
Appreciate that. Excellent. And then a few days later, I see on Zero Hedge the $165 million question that Mitch got 88 million and Schumer got 69 million or whatever it was of the money that went to Ukraine. Oh, I'm sorry. BAP. There's a big manila folder on your fucking desk. Oh, BAP. Here you go. And their manila envelope quotient just went through the fucking roof. Now they're going to vote for everything.
Hmm.
Because if the first layer of it is that they took 165 million dollars with the Ukraine aid as a fucking bribe, how much did they really take?
Yeah. So you
And what are
think,
they really? And why did they take that money? What are they actually covering up?
yeah. Yeah. So you think, all right, that makes sense. And so you're kind of, it's like, I don't know, when I'm doing like a flight sim game or something, they
Mm.
always saturate the enemy air defenses. I won't even lock on anything. I'll just shoot like 100 air-to-air missiles over their base. All their fucking AA shit goes wild. You know, the 30
Mm.
millimeters, the missiles, and then they all run out, and there's like a
Yep.
reload time, and then you go in and just hit them with a tactical nuke or something. Do you think
Mm.
that that's what it was then? So you're throwing gates out there, and they're just launching everything at
Absolutely,
it, and you're like, all right,
absolutely.
thanks,
Yeah,
retard.
thanks. Oh, thanks for letting me know who you know. And we already
Yeah,
knew all this. We knew
yeah,
who these people were, but you have to get them out there and you have to get them on record
yeah.
and telling you exactly what they're going to do. And then we find out, oh, it's only four of them. Great. So now we open up an open investigation at the Kari Lake and we see if we can get that fucking thing overturned, that shit show overturned. And then we're 54-46 in the Senate. And, now it's 50-50 and JD Vance is the tiebreaker again. Fuck you. Like, this isn't hard. The math is the math. This is the way they game plan this shit out this way. But again, then you really stop to think about what is Trump doing here? He's baiting them all out to play the fucking reindeer games over the Senate, right? And over all this crap. And that's all bullshit. Because on day one, like, who was it the other day? It was Marsha Blackburn. Gave the fucking script away the other day. I've been trying to hold it back. Threw the script out there, threw it out there for everybody to fucking deal with, and everybody missed it. Not me, because a month, like 6 weeks ago, I had people telling me who were close to the Trump transition how they are going to chop fucking $2 trillion out of the budget on January 21st. It's
Hmm.
a 5-letter word. It starts with A and it ends with T. AUDIT. They're going to audit everything. They're going to audit the grants and the NGOs and the this. And all of this shit's going to get audited. And guess what? When you trigger an audit, funding stops overnight. We're auditing your books. You don't get any more fucking money until the audit's over. Guess how long the audit's going to take? 18 months to 2 years. How much money do they have in the fucking bank, most of these NGOs? 90 days. And the executive branch has the power to do this because Congress appropriates and the executive branch spends it. And Congress can't tell the executive branch how to spend the money.
Who are the forces behind Trump that we're not? Because you don't just do this. You don't just go in as like the new sheriff. Like that's how you get your head blown off in Dallas. There's a
No,
there's a
there's a big cabal of people who have real fucking power.
Is it as simple as we've hypothesized? It's just guys that are like they're just not pedophiles who want like they want power, but they don't want communism. They want like 1980s
Yeah,
cocaine Wall
they're,
Street
they're
power.
not all. They're not. They all didn't go to Epstein Island, folks.
Yeah. There are
Like,
probably some that look at it and they're like, that's fucked. You know, they've got a Lamborghini that's plated in platinum, but they're like, who puts on
as
goat heads? Who
Tommy,
puts on goat
the
heads?
first time we were on, I was on your show,
Yeah, we talked about this.
right? And he's like at the Jordan, and I'm like theorizing about the Fed
Yeah,
and you're like, yeah. So the Jordan Belfort types look up from doing lines of coke off a Ukrainian hooker's belly, pussy, I think is the
yeah,
word you used.
yeah.
And I'm like, and they went, no, 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 you guys are fucking crazy. I'm like,
You're wearing goat heads. That shit's fucked.
exactly. So it's one thing, like again, like yeah, I snort.
I was in a
I
fraternity, but you're not supposed to, you don't believe it. You're not actually supposed to do a seance.
Right. You're not supposed to.
Fucking, you fucking
This is the
weirdos.
way you get into chicks' pants. Like this is
Yeah.
not hard. Like you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
dude,
This is
that's
the way
not
you haze
cool.
the fucking. This is the way
Yeah.
you haze the fucking freshmen who are fucking too stupid to realize what's going
Yeah.
on. Like this is not
I don't
hard.
actually drink. It's not blood. It's food dye, you fucking morons.
Are
Like,
you out of your mind? It's fucking
don't
ketchup with a little bit of
put the
water in it.
goat
Fuck
head
off.
down. That's a doll. It's not real. You'll get sick. What are you doing? Yeah. No, I think it might just be as simple as that. I also do think that there are true believers that aren't just, useful idiots. I think that there really are people that are just fucked in the head and
They
really
are.
are. I mean, like, I know I always joke, it's Al Jones, but I think there are people that, whether they truly believe it or not, or truly believe in
Mhm.
dark forces, there are people that really are. It seems like they want to end all life. Like, it's not your normal villain where it's like they'll do anything to get power. It's like, they really do want to like stop light, like the biosphere, and
They are the
they
Joker.
really they want to
Are
cut
the
energy
Joker.
production, food production, birth. They really,
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
yeah. And there are other people that like will burn a lot of the world, but it's so they can get in power. These people, they legitimately seems they're very, very intelligent. I mean, in
Yes.
terms of they're very good at scheming, but
Right.
they're actually does
Scheming.
like, yeah, but something's not computing. It really
Yeah, no.
it's like a
There
mob
are
boss that will put hits out on everyone to get to the top no matter what versus like Jeffrey Dahmer where you're like, dude, what
right.
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you have an altar made of skulls?
Right.
Get that guy out of here. That's a loose cannon.
Well, and that's the other thing. And even in my read of things, even if we don't go that far, I think there are those people are out there. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah,
think there are. I think they're there. And I think they're part of what's and they would naturally gravitate to the ones who just want to maintain power at all costs. Okay.
sure.
Um, but when you think about a guy like Jamie Dimon, and you think about a guy like some of these other guys are like, okay, we just want to make money. We just want to protect our businesses, and that's what we do. And we're very amoral about it. And don't judge us for that. We are, but at the same time, we're not that.
Yeah.
And so you get two incentive structures here. You get two reasons why, not just one reason, which I've given in the past. Why would the commercial banks go along with creating a central bank dominated world where they're cut out of it? That doesn't make any sense. So they're going to fight back to fight for their businesses. But then there's the other side of it. Then they see the opportunity. We can run the table on these fucking people, and these people are fucking are fuck goat heads and drink baby's blood and
Yeah.
shit, and they're awful. And like, how about yeah, no, that's enough. Like, it's one thing when you don't have the ability. Again, I'm going back to that framework that I laid out at the beginning of the podcast. We all want to believe that the banksters are all powerful or that they're the villains or they're this, but what if they're the victims as well of an even grander game? Right. And which is that we're trying to do away with commercial banking. Like it's one thing for them to say we have to go along because there's no way for us to not go along with this. We're making money off of it while it's going along, but then it comes to a point where they say, well, you know what, that's enough because this is now I'm not signing up for what you've got coming next. So in the banking world, programmable central bank digital currencies with a global government under the UN and the BIS, that's the equivalent of drinking baby's blood to the US commercial banks. No, you people are fucking crazy. We're not going along with this. It's that simple. And it doesn't have to be that they just have a limit, and all they have to do is stand up and go, well, how do we get out of this? I'm like, again, I've been running this framework past people for years. How do you get, well, you go over to and you install your guy over at the Federal Reserve, and then you figure out how to change the flow of dollars around the world and set the value of those dollars to be American. We're in control of it as opposed to those people who are in control of it. That's simple. And so you get rid of LIBOR, you replace it with SOFR, and you let the American commercial banks and the Federal Reserve, change the way the world is going to price dollars around the world. You call up the Chinese and you go, look, this is what we're doing. Now, react accordingly. You're going to have to deal with these fucking people who are going to say, no, you can't do that. If the don't fuck us or we're going to fuck you over. And that's what Trump is going to, what Trump is threatening everybody with tariffs and all the rest of it. It's why he went out over the weekend and said, if we're going to put 100% tariffs on anybody who decides to de-dollarize. Like, that's dumb. It's stupid. It's very Trumpian, and it's not workable. And and he'll have to step back from it. But it's a negotiating point. It's the beginning of a negotiation, not the end of a negotiation. And it's a threat, and that's the kind of threat you throw out there when you're about to enter into very intense negotiations, because China's not the ultimate enemy here. But the Chinese have been destabilizing us because they're not sure who's going to win. Look at things from the Chinese perspective. Is Davos and the British going to win? Or the American sovereigntists going to win? Who's going to win? Are the Arabs going to go? So they're hedging their bets. So yeah, are they backing the fentanyl trade into the United States? Of course they are. Are they buying California politicians? Of course they are. Are they trying to get backdoors into all of our chip technology to steal it? Of course they are. Right? Would you expect them not to?
No.
It's just the way it is. I mean, I'm not, again, I don't want them doing this, but if you've got a hostile enemy, you've got a group that's hostile to you and to your existence,
it's like saying,
and you're not sure who's going to win the power battle, for the soul of the West. All of China's actions make perfect sense. But then again, if the right faction wins, all that shit will stop tomorrow, because it's not in China's best interest to continue those policies.
What do you think Trump's gonna you gotta bring it full circle at this? Is not full circle, but I don't know. We can keep going. I got nothing doing. I don't give a shit. What do you think Trump's gonna put? Is this just 4 years? Or is he gonna go do the thing? Or do you think it's like the iron is hot, like strike it? Do you think they're actually putting in like fundamental change? I mean, is there really, you know, are we setting shit up? Like, I would hope that you're doing some like post World War II. You'll never set it up for, you can't do that. But what you can do is kind of you can make it so you're sitting pretty for like 50 years.
Yeah, I think that
That's
I know that's
possible.
I think that's exactly what they're trying to set up.
Oil, energy independence. Just there's so much shit that's like pretty basic. Yeah, it's like shut the border, energy independence, and
You've got to change the tax code.
you
The
can
big
bring
thing you've got to do,
corporations back.
Tommy.
Yeah,
The big thing you've got to do is you've got to make it cheap to relocate
yeah.
back to the United States.
Give them every incentive ever.
They've made the United States so unbelievably expensive that's why everybody left in the first place.
Yeah.
My good friend Vince Lanci has made the point multiple times on Twitter recently, and I haven't spoken to Vince directly about this, but I've spoken to him on Twitter, and I've read his thoughts on this, and I think he's completely right, which is to say, look, a lot of these companies went overseas because it was the right thing to do. It was cheap to do so. It's going to cost more money than you think it's going to cost to bring those things back to the U.S. And you can, and then the Martin Armstrong's point, you have to make it predictable. They have to make the economics of the shift back predictable enough over the life of the investment, which in this case is going to be 20 to 50 years. It has to be a permanent thing. It has to be a change.
Can't have
It
it
has to be a
snap back in 4
generational,
years.
durable change. So Trump has to not only
It
does
can't
he
be an
have to,
executive order. It can't be. Sorry to interrupt.
right?
It
It
can't be
has to
bring your
be
businesses back and then in 4 years they get fucked.
right. It has to be a generational shift where it's durable to the point where politically you change the country and it's like it was during World War II and afterwards, where the Democrats were in control of the country at the legislative and the executive level for 30 fucking years. FDR, that group had to be in charge for that long to set up the policies that big. And so that's what has to happen here. That's why the Democrats are freaking out, because it could be a one-party rule for 30 years. Trump is setting up the entire next generation of political heavyweights in the United States with this cabinet. Gabbard, Vance, Musk, Ramaswamy, blah, blah. Look at the fucking cabinet. It's all Gen Xers.
Mm. Yeah.
DeSantis, Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, blah, blah. All of those people. I mean, if you look at the ethos, if you look at the attitude and the ethos of the people that we're dealing with here, you're setting this up for, you're running the table with a group of people that are young and have their entire political careers ahead of them, and the Democrats have AOC.
Yeah, I mean,
this is a fight they can almost not lose. So in that respect, if you're fucking Europe and you're the fucking British, you're like,
you might throw a Hail
fuck,
Mary.
you are going to do everything a fucking imaginable to make sure that this doesn't happen. Everything. You're going to blow every fucking card you have. You're going to launch every fucking missile you have. You're going to pressure every place you can. Pakistan, Lebanon, Syria, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Argentina, everything. You have to.
Yeah, you have to.
No other choice. Or you concede. And you say, now, if I'm the British, I throw the French and the Germans under the bus. And if I'm the French and the British and the Germans, I throw the British and the French on. If I'm the Germans, I throw the British and the French under the bus. And if I'm the French, I throw the British and the Germans under the bus. And the Italians have already left. They're out. They're done. George Maloney's like, yeah, fuck a whole lot of you. I got 100 military bases, and the Americans are the American military is backing me. I'm out. Yeah, I'm just waiting for y'all to like finish fighting amongst yourselves. No, Eastern Europe is jacking out of this thing. And the Italians already saw this ages ago.
No, their great book, Base Nation by David Vine. No, Italy's sitting good. They've got base contracts with the U.S. at the S. Or if
there has to be a generational durable, and has to be that kind of durable thing.
Yeah, you can't lower like the corporate tax rate for 4 years. They come back, throw $1 trillion at building, a bunch of manufacturing, and then fucking AOC comes in and goes 99% tax. Well, it's not that she's going to do that. It's they're going to look ahead and go, if we don't have that guarantee, you're not getting so much as a lemonade stand.
Right.
It's not Charlie Brown.
And that's where Wall Street has been behind the scenes selling this.
Got it.
Forever. That's why SOFR is so fucking important. That's why shrinking the U.S., the balance sheet is so important. That's why not getting rid of the Federal Reserve is so fucking important. Now that you really put it all in perspective. But you can fix the unfunded liabilities by, leveraging Treasury gold. It's why you can Judy Shelton's ideas. It's why Lutnick is not wrong about a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And, again, you undergird a fundamental shift in monetary and fiscal policy by saying, we have collateral. We have the cheapest energy in the world. We can do this. And we can restore faith in the American system by going back to the American system.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? You do exactly what Vivek is out there saying. We aren't waiting for the courts to adjudicate these 18,000 cases adjudicated under Chevron and waiting for the challenges to come to repeal them on a case-by-case basis. No. We're under a mandate from the SCOTUS to say all 18,000 of those cases are unconstitutional and we're not enforcing them anymore. And all these regulations are off the books. Trying to get people out of this mindset that we have to untangle this a little bit by little bit. No, we can literally stop all of this cold. And you're seeing it from the car companies. Every goddamn one of for example, the car companies are a great leading indicator on this because they're all saying, "Yep, we're done with we're done with electric vehicles." Um, you know, we're done. It doesn't work. We'll put money into hybrids. Battery technology is fine. Got no problem with that. But the car companies are desperate to simplify their cars again, so they can get the cost of cars down, get the manufacturing. Because look, they're still making all these simple fucking cars and trucks overseas. It's only in America that we have to have all of these
Yeah.
ridiculous cafe rules and everything else. And the only reason that it's like it's retarded. Like, go to Mexico, folks. Go see what fucking Stellantis builds for Mexico, and go, shit, I want one of those. You can't get it. They cost $9,000. No, you can't get it. Not allowed. Why? Cafe.
Yeah.
This, that, all these other things. You can't do it. You know why? Because the small pickup truck, the small ute, needs to get 70 miles to the gallon. Not 30, 70. It can do 30. You can do 35. You can do 40. You can't do 70. If you sell that car on the market, you sell like the little Ram 700. Go look it up. You can try and sell that in the United States. The cafe costs on that car, I think I don't know what the number actually is, but I can tell you that that it's got to get 70 miles to the gallon, and then there's a fine structure for how far off you are from that target. And so that car that costs $9,000 in Mexico will cost $35,000 here in the United States.
Jeez.
And the government will take the 25 grand off the top. Like, it's fucking retarded. It's dumb. And you can thank Obama for it because he's a fucking traitor and he needs to be hung.
Goddamn commie. I just want, I mean,
We're back
aside
to
from,
General Ripper. We have General Ripper is literally running HHS. Fluoridation of water is the most monstrous communist plot conceived in the history of man.
our precious,
Somebody recommended me to Vivian Kubrick the other day, and she was like, "I'll look into him." I was doing this. I'm like, "Oh my god,
precious
your
bodily.
dad's one of my heroes." Like,
No, whatever it is. No, no. The POE is the peace on earth. That's the code. And then what's the other one? Precious bodily fluids.
OPE.
Yeah,
It was
OPE.
OPE, POE, something like that. Yeah.
Well, it comes out to peace on earth, and then it's yeah,
Mhm.
and then it's our precious mandrake, our precious bodily. Um, but yeah,
So good.
it's just like aside from it being like the right thing to do, and good for the average person, I just also like I just want to like I want to see it. Like I really want to see like the thing unleashed. Like just
Um,
like I just more like I'm dead. I'm starting right now. I'm dead. I'm just spectating like after a match. Out of curiosity, I just want to see what happens when you like a 1950 happen now. Just like take the governor off, like energy independent, and like I want to see just like America go and like fuck the stars. I want to see it more than anything. Like I want to watch Tom Brady or Michael Jordan. I just want to see it. I just want to see fucking going to Mars and like I want to experience. I want to experience like America on cocaine of like fucking seeing just like from like
I want
monster trucks and like Pam Anderson to like walking on the moon and like fighter jets over like the Indy 500. Like I just want to. I was born in '90 and like my earliest memories are kind of around 9/11, so it's kind of been downhill. But like
right.
I just want to fucking see it.
Dude, I grew up in the 80s. Like,
Yeah,
I know what I mean, I was coming to
I
my
just
own in
want to
the
see
80s, right?
high octane America.
And it's funny. Now and it's hard for me to really relate
Yeah,
to the millennial experience in that respect because to me it was, like I don't, like I've watched the downhill struggle of this, but I've also remember what it was like. Like, I grew up during I mean, I was a kid during the 70s, right? So when things were really bad,
yeah.
right? And then we got the pressure relief valve in the 1980s, and somewhat. And I don't want to see America on cocaine. I want to see America on steak.
On what?
Yeah, on steak. on
Yeah, no,
steak
no,
and
no,
eggs,
no, no. Yeah,
on
no, you
steak
don't.
and eggs, and on steak and eggs,
No, 8 hour,
and
8 hours of sleep and a good job. Like
right.
that's what I no. I
And,
want to just. I just want to
yeah,
see it.
exactly. And be honest with you, even I haven't really experienced that because we got fucked during the stagflation of the 70s, with air pop popcorn, instant mashed potatoes, and all this shit. And that's where it started. And I spent a lot of my time from so you're what, 34? So
Yeah.
about the time I was right around right around 30 is when my wife and I started to jack out of the standard American diet. Right. So, um, and so we've been on this kick of improving ourselves from a dietary standpoint. Well, close to 30 years. Well, it's almost 30 years now. And we backslide and everything else. And oh my God, this morning I'm still dealing with the after effects of eating like unbelievable shit on Thursday and Friday.
As you should.
My father-in-law brought 4 things of ice cream into the house, and I have zero willpower against ice cream.
None.
Like none, zero.
None.
And so, but for about nine so like 10 to 11 months out of the year, I eat really well. And I have like weeks of badness. And this year in particular has been bad. So I'd say only about 5 to 6 months of 2024 have I eaten well because of the stress of this fucking year. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I don't just smoke these fucking things. I've been eating badly
Yeah.
too. And so I'm like really like fighting to try and get back down to about 210 and
Yeah.
go out
I
for a
get,
walk
I get,
again.
yeah, I get you. I've been sober this whole year, which has led to weight gain because you don't have alcohol. It's like, but I have Reese's cups, and you're like, all right, I'll make a deal. But
Right.
now I'm like 10, 11 months sober. I'm like, all right, you gotta start. Good job. You gotta start, put it down.
Now you rash it down to the next thing and the next thing and the
Yeah,
next thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll just,
I
yeah,
agreed. It's so very difficult. I
yeah.
spent a lot of this year drinking Diet Coke for Coke Zero, for Christ's sake. I hadn't had a non stevia sweetened soda previous to that in like 15 years. And I'm dead serious. Like, reflexively, you go to a restaurant, it's like, what do you want to drink? Unsweet tea, please.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then, but then, on the way home, you like pick up 2 Coke Zeros and a Reese's. And Reese, I like Reese sticks. I've
Oh
always been
yeah.
yeah, so
Little
good.
wafers.
So, yeah, terrible, right? But, what are you going to do? And but that's what's coming, I think, once Trump gets into office, is that sense of dread will alleviate one or two layers. And okay, now
Yeah.
I can get back to I get to smile now for the first time in months. I didn't smile from like January forward. I didn't smile, I didn't laugh. Like, every once in a while, I'd get somebody would show me a really, really good meme that would just like break me.
Yeah.
I can, and most of these memes are not memes that I'm allowed to share with the publicly because they're so beyond the pale, right?
Send them to me. I'll
But
tweet them. I don't give a shit. I'm nuked every like couple.
no, dude. Like, there's a particularly great one about Emperor Palpatine, that I'm just gonna leave on the cutting room floor. I'll tell you
All right.
after we
All right.
after we stop recording, because I can't say it. But it just break yeah, but it broke me so fucking hard because it came at me, in a way that it was, there's a couple of them that you just break down and you laugh in a way that releases like years worth of tension.
Yeah.
And we've had moments like that recently since the election that have been really helpful and healing,
Yeah.
frankly. And we're gonna have more of those, Tommy. We
Yeah.
are. We're gonna have more of them, and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And we need to prepare ourselves for those and allow them to happen. When they happen, let it out, let it go,
Yeah.
and then walk forward, going, you know what? We're taking it back. That's right. Like, I'm like playing World of Warcraft the other day, and I made a huntard. I never play hunters, right? So, but we're playing WoW Classic on a fresh server, right? I'm playing 2 classes I never play. I'm playing Priest and Huntard. Like, fuck, I'm a warlock and a shaman kind of guy. And the hunter, you get to like tame pets, right? And then you get to rename your pets. So I go and find a black pig and I name him Chitlin because, okay. I'm like, I was waiting for somebody to like get mad at me. I'm like, you know what? fuck them.
Fuck them.
Like, that's it's like it makes me every once in a while it makes me happy. I like, oh, he's a black pig, not the brown pig named Chitlin. I don't make it. It's got to be the black pig named Chitlin. Chitlins. Like it's got to be there. And every time I look at his name, I'm like, all I can think of is friggin' Frank. Then there's a moment in Frank Zappa where he uses that beautifully, and you are what you is, and like it's just one of those moments. Like it makes me happy, it tickles my balls, and and I get this good pig, good chitlin, go get him.
It's like been playing like I stopped a couple weeks ago. I picked up Hitman again, but like playing like World of Warships
Mm-hmm.
pre, during, and after the election. It was like election night. It was like or the next morning at like 8 a.m. And it was like, there's like the group chat or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
somebody was just like, like back the fuck out or blown the fuck out commies. And like everyone on the map was just started like honking their horns and shit. And it was just like, it was just fantastic. It
Oh
was,
no, so what's
people were like,
really
who else stayed up all night to make sure? And everyone was like, here, like I'm watching. And one or two people would be like, Trump's a Nazi. And everyone would be like, kill the faggot and start shooting at him. Like,
oh
but
no,
like,
you think that's if you think that's bad, dude. So there's a very big. I've noticed this. There is a very big difference between retail World of Warcraft and classic World of Warcraft. All the based old guys are playing classic because it's the harder game. They're all screaming MAGA in the fucking in like trade chat and Baron's chat. If you don't, anybody who's played World of Warcraft knows what Baron's chat is, and Baron's chat is like the equivalent of like 4chan.
got it.
Um, it's because as the horde players, you're in the barons for weeks and you do a lot of running because there's one town and the barons is enormous, and so you're constantly running out from the crossroads to and you're there for weeks while you're leveling, and that means people are really bored. And then when you've leveled out of the zone and you're kind of bored, you go to the crossroads so you can hang out in barons chat and you just like and the Chuck Norris jokes and the this, and it's legendary within World of Warcraft. Barons chat is its thing. Um, Honestly, it would make a great band name. And so watching the political discussions, and then every once in a while you get these little faggots, and they go, when did WoW turn into a political the political thing? We're like, it's always been this way,
Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah.
And then the shit happens. And so on day one, like within an hour and a half of the server going live, someone ran to Orgrimmar. They pooled together 10 silver, which is a lot of money at the beginning of the game, like get 10 silver to run and go make the guild MAGA by Donald J. Trump. Character named Donald J. Trump. We're all screaming MAGA in Orgrimmar. It's hilarious. Like, this is all this shit's going on. And Blizzard gave him a freaking 10-day ban because someone
Good.
bitched.
That's awesome.
Like,
That's awesome.
exactly. And
Making martyrs.
and FYI, the guy who's running that guild is like, he was putting it up for sale, and one of my guildies, one of my patrons, who's one of my guildies, we're gonna try and buy the MAGA guild.
Fuck
And
yeah. Fuck yeah. No, but they're making martyrs. It doesn't matter.
absolutely, fuck them. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just so funny. So I mean, just so you know, you'd be among friends if you decided to join.
No, I will
And hang
eventually.
out
I
with it.
will.
It
Yeah,
would be
no.
it's hilarious, dude. It's so good.
It's I think like that's kind of one thing, and like I get that there's always a fine line between like pearl clutching and be like the other side won, it's the end of the world. I know that, and then it's never really that way. But I mean, more than anything, just watching the last 4 years, like watching the election get stolen, like watching the censorship, but it personally just fucking my own company, like I was visited after I literally went and videotaped like as a drunk because I thought it'd be a good podcast. January 6th, like being visited by the FBI, friends being visited by the FBI, like what you having the doctors on and have them being like, this is the most fucked thing I've ever seen in my life. Really, the last 4 years has kind of been like man, I care less about like my side winning, and now I'm like, man, I don't want my life to like end in my 30s. I'm not trained like militarily. Like I'll die immediately in a civil war. All the guys I know they'll be fine. They'll be warlords. But like more than anything, the last couple of years has been less of like I don't like that policy, and more been like, man, like I now like my life goals got so much smaller where I was like I kind of just want to now my goals are like I would like to live into my 60s and like
Right.
not die in a conflagration. And man, man,
You're
if
now an honorary member of Gen X.
yeah,
A friend of mine, tweeted out to me this morning after we put out the latest issue of the newsletter, and he said, "Dude, I just bought a Gen X bomb shelter, and it's a picture of a desk."
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
ducking cover, yeah, paternal. But like literally, I was just like, man, like and then like if literally Trump's head, I mean, there is a timeline right now where like
hmm
the United States has collapsed into civil war, and because it is the kind of wedge that global stability sits on, the world is fucked, and like there is like a sigh of relief where I'm like, man. But then I start thinking like maybe you need to have those close calls in your life to realize what you really want, to realize the things that really matter. And I'm
yes,
like, what have I felt this year more than anything? I would just find myself praying less of like I want the podcast to blow up, I want a nice car, and more of like I would like to one day like live old enough to like have a family. And I was like, damn, I've like never thought about that in my life before. And now like there is a sigh of relief where like I don't mind doing the hard work. I don't mind all the troubles that come with life. I lost a brother to suicide. Like I get fucking there's pains, but like this year more than anything, I've just there has just been like a relief since the election that I'm like, I just I feel like life at the very least will continue now. Like I'm not like no trainees in the bathrooms, but I don't give a fuck if people want to go fucking shop there. Go for it. I don't. This isn't some like pearl clutching like the Democrats can't win. I get it. It goes left and it goes right, and the social and the this, and I get all that. But the last couple of years has really been in terms of censorship, border, just FBI overreach. I mean, it's kind of politicized. Steve Bannon in jail, Navarro in jail, fucking trying to shoot, and like it's gotten to a point in the last couple of years where I was like, man, like this, I should be thankful that I got 34 years in America. Like, I started to get really, like, not to be dramatic, but it's like, I've had a good life and, maybe it doesn't go forever. And, like, where I am now, like, there's a feeling of, like, man, like, what an honor it would be to just, like, grow old and become an old man and have a family.
yeah,
That's kind of where I am now. So,
and
like,
and and I'll be honest with you, Tommy. When I was your age and before I became a dad, um, I was in a very similar place. So, you ask why Camille and I didn't have children until we were older. There's a variety of reasons for that, not the least of which was, this beard's been gray for an awfully long time. The beard has, not the hair, not the hair,
yeah,
but the beard. You go and look at me in my 30s and or like my 20s, and you'll see way too much gray hair in the beard of a 28 or 29-year-old man. And there's a lot of self-destructive behavior. And it was mostly just around stress eating and
sure.
smoking and all the rest of it. And not getting any sleep and all the rest and the visceral fucking dread of that of living that life. And you know, um, my so I get exactly what you're saying. And I'm listening to you talk, and I'm like, yeah, I know what that feels like. And now I'm almost an old man. I don't consider 56 nigh on to 57 an old man yet, but you know, I feel like an old man today because I've eaten like shit recently. And that's obviously where we are. But we do have an opportunity here, and and let's make the best of it. Let's make the best of the opportunity because
Yeah.
like that's what's important now. Like when I was my dread for most of this year was, dude, I've been really close to success a lot of times in my life where I was in the right place at the right time, or what I thought was the right place at the right time. And then either through self sabotage or, circumstance or inability to read the room or whatever. And now I'm finally have something that's even remotely comfortable. And I'm like, I'm watching this going, and they could take it away from me tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I've been living with that since we started this. And, oh, well, if they do, they do. And I have, Camille and I talked about it many, many times. And Dexter and I have talked about it, and we said, look, just, yeah, it's real. Don't make it easy for them. If they want you, they're going to take you.
Hmm.
but don't make it easy for them. Don't give them an easy excuse as to why they're going to, remand you to Guantanamo and waterboard you with, dirty swamp water as opposed to Pellegrino. Um, but it is what it is. So we're now in a position where it's very possible that we could have a pretty good gig going forward. And let's approach it that we deserve that.
Yeah.
Because what they've done to us is they've said to us this learned helplessness and this planned, this planned demoralization is to get you to say, I only deserve crumbs. I only deserve, like I've used the Oliver Twist thing many times. Please, sir, may I have some more?
Yeah.
No, fuck you. Fill the goddamn bowl, and I want raisins in my fucking porridge, you asshole. And if you don't give it to me, I'm going to throw it at you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leap over this fucking. I'm going to leap over this fucking counter. I'm going to get what I fucking want. We don't have to take their shit anymore.
Yeah.
Never have. And one of the things, the kind of the fundamental difference, and I feel this very, very strongly within the generations, is that our generation, mine, has always had that attitude. And that we will, like, not all of us, but enough of us. And we're like, you know what? Fuck you dudes. And there's a line, I got a line from this month's newsletter. We just put it out yesterday. It's talking about the Repo Man kids. The Repo Man kids were supposed to turn on and drop dead. It's a little longer than what I said. But what they wound up doing was they wound up leaving the mosh pit, leaving behind all the false machismo of the guys who thought they were John Wayne, got in the glowing card and said, fuck that. We're not doing that. We're not going to look at our fucking feet. There's a big, interesting fucking world out there, and we're not sure what's going to look like tomorrow, but that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And you can't take that from us. And they can try and take it from you, but they don't have to. So, enjoy the ride, sharpen your fucking meme lord stick, and let's go fucking kill these people. Yeah. Metaphorically speaking, of course. Let's take all their money from them. That's sincerely.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, no.
Tar and feather them, embarrass them, destroy them emotionally as they've attempted to emotionally destroy us. We're stronger than they are. And that I do believe about your generation, and certainly believe about the kids coming behind us, behind y'all. Like I look at my daughter's generation, and I'm like, oh, these kids are so fucking based.
Yeah, no, they're insane. I love it. They're insane. But that's what it's like Neil deGrasse Tyson being like, Elon Musk wants to go to Mars. There's no shareholder return on that, and everyone's like clapping like seals. I'm like, no, America is to be like, we're going to Mars. What's it going to cost? 40 trillion. What are we going to get from it? We're going to plant our flag there and fucking hump the air. Why? Because fuck you. Like, that's America.
Because that's cool.
America's like, we're going to go to Mars. We're going to send an aircraft carrier to Mars. Like, that's America. Is like, we'll fucking go crash an aircraft carrier into Olympus Mons just to say undeniably we did it first. Like,
we did it first.
That's America.
We'll figure out what's the return on investment, Neil deGrasse Tyson. There's this thing called the asteroid belt, last I checked.
Well, no, first of all, there is a very real return on investment. But regardless of that, it's eat a fucking dick. We're on Mars. That's fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off. Like, oh, you want to do it?
I want my flying cars. And no, that douchebag.
That guy's such a fag.
Okay. He's a diversity hire.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. Right. And he's become more and more of a diversity hire as time has gone along. He's a classic example of the fake expert that they throw in front of us. It's the Jay and Silent Bob reboot gag. Like, the definition of a reboot is they add diversity and make it worse.
Yeah,
that's the joke from that movie. It's hilarious, by the way. The last decent thing Kevin Smith wrote was that line, and then it's everywhere throughout the movie. So it's really funny. Like, add diversity and make it worse.
Yeah.
And well, guess what? Carl Sagan, Cosmos, add diversity, make it worse. You get Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
Like, he thinks that he's smarter than Elon Musk. No, that guy has the massive big fucking penis envy because Elon Musk shot his penis into space and then caught the motherfucker.
Yeah. Multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
it's like, but
because he
that's
can go all night. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
but that's what it should like. It's that's what it should be is like inspiring like tomorrow. One thing that always gets me is like if you go back and look at the 50s, when you look at the art, like the sci-fi art
Hmm.
that they would be like by the year 1980 or by the year 2000, you look at it and you go, man, like these weren't like they didn't make these things just this wasn't ChatGPT where they typed in a prompt. Like they had these things made because commissioned because that's what they thought was coming. And you look at it and you go, it is such insane optimism. And they didn't bat. They were like, yeah, by 1980, like, well, we're gonna have nuclear reactors on Venus. Like, they weren't idiots. Like, that's the pace that they were moving. It was just like, fuck off. We're doing this shit. And now it's like, well, we hope by next year we'll cut carbon. No, no, no. I mean, it needs to be like retarded. It needs to be like, we're gonna build a McMansion on Mars.
Right.
Like we're gonna have a housing crisis on Mars. Like Jamie Dimon's gonna be fucking offering toxic loans to an apartment on Pluto. Like that's America. Is just so retarded in your face. Like we're gonna do that. Like
Yeah.
that's what we're
Let's
gonna do.
and you have to think like that,
Well, it's
or
that
there's
cocky jock attitude that it kind of makes it real. When you're so fucking like confident that you're like, no,
yeah.
we're gonna do this shit. People start going like, dude, that guy's crazy, and then it's you kind of start to get out of his way. You're like, man, that guy's legitimately insane. Like he's, and that's how you go and win. Is
Well,
you
how do
have
you
to
think Steve? Why do you think Steve Jobs built the iPhone?
exact no, like you have to be
That's
fucking
exactly it. You
yeah.
have to literally say, "We're going to do the impossible." Now, go fucking do
And
it.
when people go, we can't do that, you go, you're fired. Security, take him out so I don't kill him. Like that is like the essence of what America is. It's not timidity. It's
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 it's what
it's
it's
putting
what it's
astronauts
what
on the top of rockets and just lighting it and being a forgotten country and like I hope it doesn't explode. Like that's
like.
America.
Well, and it's not just it's and that's what the world wants us to be. And this isn't just about America. I mean, this is about humanity. And and a lot of the world, in many ways, a lot of the world outsourced that hope to the rest of us, to us as Americans, who and then we betrayed them after World War II by building the managerial state. And so y'all asked us to lead again. Well, guess what? The kids showed up and we said, you know what? Now we're going to go do it. And here are the kids, and these are what we have right now. This is the crop of kids we have right now. The Tulsi Gabbards and the Vances and those guys. We have them. They're here. I mean, Elon Musk isn't even American. He's freaking South African, right? And there are plenty of there are brilliant people all over the fucking world that need to be unleashed, but they're not going to be unleashed if you know the HR nanny's in charge.
Yeah.
So those people need to go away. And we can, again, if Elon Musk can throw a fucking rocket up into the air and catch the fucking thing, we can fire the HR nannies and the middle managers and the pointy haired bosses from Dilbert who think they run the fucking world. It's not
It's
hard, folks.
we'll
It's learned helplessness. You're not helpless.
we'll kind of wrap it up with two
Mm-hmm.
thoughts. And one is like it's that video where it's a bunch of fucking Apache attack helicopters flying over the like Indy 500 or something, and
Right.
everyone in the crowd's eating McDonald's and Bud Heavy, and it's like we used to be a proper country, and it's like that. But then I also the one that so that one's like the carrot. That's the one you want to go towards. Then there's the stick, and it's a picture of the Twin Towers at night and there's a Concorde taking off or a flying over it, and it's like a supersonic commercial airliner flying over 210-story skyscrapers.
Mm-hmm.
And the feeling of like, how have we gone backwards? That's more advanced than what we have now. Like that should never be the case. You should
Right.
never look back and be like, man, those old iPhones are great. You should always like, you should be like, no, 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 this thing is so much better. Like I don't want to feel that when I don't want to yearn for, not in a nostalgic way, but when you look and go, technologically, that was better.
Yeah.
That's a horrible feeling of yesteryear. It should
Yeah.
never be that. You should look at it and be like, no, the Concorde now is hypersonic. Fuck that shit. Like
Right.
that's what it
Agreed.
should be. And
Agreed.
like
Agreed.
that's what I want it to be going forward. It's just, I mean, it really is like we're it's like it's not the end of history. We're at the first step of space travel.
Yeah. We're
There is a
paying off. We're paying off Kubrick. We're paying off all those men. Like we're
yeah,
paying those people forward.
yeah, like dude, like that's what it should be. Like I don't know. So, but I do think, I mean, be it divine intervention or just like the global consciousness or whatever, there's clearly a mandate of like that's what people want.
The
It,
universe intervened with a
yeah,
capital U,
yeah,
and you define that word however you want.
sure.
And I'm firmly comfortable with whatever version of whatever definition people want to come up with. But the
Yeah,
universe intervened and said this is not the way we're going.
yeah,
And I'm okay with that, and I can make my peace with that.
yeah,
Um, and that's cool.
yeah,
Now let's just enjoy it, and let's go make some. So let's stop auto tuning our live performances of our artists, and let's just stop all of this crap, and let's go out and make some dirty. Let's go out and make some dirty music, and make some flawed movies, and write some crappy poetry, and let's make some brilliant rockets, and let's do the thing. That's what that phrase is. Do the thing. Whatever that thing is that gives you purpose in this life, let's do that.
yeah,
Whatever that happens to be. I don't give a shit what it is. I'm fascinated to see what people are going to come up with.
yeah.
Again, this month's newsletter found a great quote by Patton. You know how much I love that fucking movie.
Blood and
For this
guts.
month's newsletter, we always have a quote. And the quote this month was, don't tell people what to do. Show them where to go. And then you'll be amazed at what they come up
I
with.
did, yeah, yeah. Like the innovation they come up with, yeah, yeah. Don't tell them we have what to do. Tell them like where to go and
Where to go and let
be
them figure it
amazed
out.
at the novelty. No, I know that's a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
quote.
There's variations on that quote, but yeah,
Yeah, but
and
it's
that's
go.
the moment we're in right now,
Yeah,
and we should, look at that from every possible angle, and find cool stuff. And I've said it many times. I yearn for the day, or wish for the day. I was talking to my therapist about this the other day. He said, "Well, what does your life look like if you don't have to do this for a living? How long do you want to do what you're currently doing?" I'm like, I love what I do. I mean, I absolutely adore every moment that I get to spend either chatting into a microphone or writing an article or writing a newsletter or whatever I do. I get to be me and I get paid for it. And it's fucking great. Right. But there's also a part of me that's like, yeah, but I only want to do this for so long. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life.
yeah,
Like I would like to be able to do this long enough that a job fulfilled that inspired enough people that I'm not needed anymore, and I can go out
yeah,
and play fucking bad jazz drums, or you know, write that novel that I never wrote, or whatever, and like do the thing that I want to do, and hopefully I'll get that opportunity. Um, but if not, I'll be here until I'm no longer needed, because this is what drives. Because I have a responsibility, unlike you, and I wish this for you, by the way,
hmm,
and for everybody in your position who is not there, that you do get a chance to have that family, and you do have a chance to raise those children, and then have that sense of purpose of what it is that drives you to get out of fucking bed in the morning and
yeah,
do what needs to be done. Because
yeah,
the thing is to leave that world for her, in my case, my daughter, and for your kids, and leave a better fucking place than when you started. And right now, I failed. So I got a lot of fucking work to do in the next 20 years. It ain't about me now.
yeah. No, we got an opportunity. We got an 11th hour call, and
Yeah.
it's. I mean,
And
somebody
and to your point earlier, Tommy, maybe Trump needed to lose in 2020 to let things get
I
so
think
fucking bad.
I think he did, man. In terms of like God works in mysterious ways,
Maybe, maybe.
it is there is a rabid, like drunken fervor for like patriotism now. And
Mhm.
it's like, dude, this is it's I just want to make sure
And I
above
and
all,
I think it's beyond just America.
No,
It's what
yeah, no, it
America
is. It is.
represents.
No, this
It's
is a
I think it's
manifestation.
yeah.
It's
It's that it's now we made a statement for humanity. Now it's our job to keep Trump on the straight and narrow that he doesn't abuse that privilege, and it's our job to lead going forward and help lead everybody else out of the darkness. We are now Batman in the Robert Pattinson, the Batman, that moment where he leads the people out of the darkness with the flare. And that's our job. And that's where we are. And we need to do that and take that job unwillingly. And we're not living for ourselves anymore. We have there there are a lot of people in a very perilous state that need our help. So let's go do it.
yeah, fucking. I just want to see America on Mars, just holding up a middle finger. Like I just,
Me too. My entire
really,
life, dude, I want to go to Mars,
yeah,
the moon, or someplace. I want to go into. I want to do this at least once.
yeah. Just like it's I love this country so much, and I just, it's just so great, and it's, yeah. Um, but yeah, let's wrap this shit up. Appreciate you doing
Sure.
this on short notice. We just ran about 2 hours, and bu- 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 yeah, man. Thanks for doing this. And guys, if you go in the description, well, the links to all your shit, Gold Goats Guns, all your Patreon, all your links, your Twitter, all that shit's in there. Um, I think that's everything. I just had a brain fart. Am I missing anything?
No, you're good. TFL 1728 at Twitter. You guys know the deal.
Yep. It's all the links are in there. Go follow them, all that good shit. Dude, thank you so much for your time. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Appreciate it, Tommy.
All right,
Thanks
bro.
for the invite. Talk to
Thank
you
you so
soon.
much. All right, guys. Guys, thank you so much.